a comedy tonight, or maybe a little action? How about a classic James Bond or a classic? It's your choice with RCA Select-Vision video disc players from Advanced TV and Video. Here's Ravel's favorite number at Advanced TV's best price, just $99. Or this stereo model, only $159. Nothing scary about that. And with any RCA video disc player, choose any 3 single-disc movies for only $9.95 each. We rent them too at Advanced TV and Video on Marconi east of Fulton, Freeport north of Fruit Ridge, Sacramento, and the Grand Oaks Center, Citrus Heights.
Howdy, I'm Cal Worthington of Giant Worthington Chevrolet. We give a free 10-day trial exchange on every used car and every used truck. How are you going to beat this? A 1983 Mercury Zephyr for $44.95, just $98 a month. Drive it 10 days. We're having a sale on motorhomes. Look at this one. Here's a beautiful Dodge motorhome, a 4-star, 21-foot, completely self-contained, including the generator, everything. A beautiful motorhome, $69.95. Got a lot of them. Hey, come and see us. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Giant Worthington Chevrolet, open to midnight.
You're watching Channel 40, Sacramento, Stockton.
First at 10. News Plus, the 10 o'clock news.
The Secretary has instructed the Bureau of Reclamation and the Fish and Wildlife Service to begin the process of shutting down the Kesterson Reservoir.
Good evening, everybody. That news left hundreds of San Joaquin Valley farmers devastated.
With the plugging of the San Luis Drain, 42,000 acres of farmland will literally dry up. The argument over what to do with the selenium-laced waters of the Kesterson have been dragged out for months. There have been accusations of cover-ups along the way. Though the problem has existed for years, it wasn't until recently that deformities found in the local wildlife have illustrated how severe the problem has become. The shutdown will begin immediately.
This process will result in plugging the San Luis Drain and stopping the delivery of irrigation water to the lands which drain into the reservoir. Also, we will begin the process of cleaning up the water and soil in the Kesterson Reservoir.
The announcement has already set off a tirade of response from farmers who, as of today, will soon have nothing to farm.
You're taking generations of people that have been farming, producing on this land, and you just close the door on them. You just said go out and find something else to do because you no longer can farm the land that you were born on, that in cases your father and your grandfather were born on and were farming. Go do something else, fella.
Hallett said the deaths of the birds at the Kesterson might subject the federal government to criminal prosecution under an international bird migration treaty. In her words, given the present technology, we have no choice but to take this action. Meanwhile, the woman who has overseen the state's actions on the cleanup of the Kesterson Reservoir made her resignation public today. Carol Honorado, the chairperson for the state's Water Resources Board, resigned late yesterday to make way for new appointments by the governor. News Plus talked to Honorado as she prepared to leave her post today.
Everybody knew that Kesterson was a time bomb waiting to explode. And what surprises me is that I had the privilege of presiding over the board that had to bite the bullet on coming up with a solution. And this is not news to anybody, but it would seem to me that in many areas we are in crisis. I mean, we always wait till a crisis evolves to react, and that we're not paying adequate attention, and have not in the past, to the planning process.
The governor's office is expected to announce Honorado's replacement next week. And if the governor gets his way, California will soon have a new agency to oversee toxic waste problems like those at the Kesterson Reservoir. Details of the governor's toxic waste management proposal were made public just yesterday. The plan calls for consolidating the duties of 12 state agencies under a new agency, the Department of Waste Management. The public will have 9 days to comment on the governor's plan. Then the proposal will come under the review by the state's Little Hoover Commission. Final approval of the new agency will be left up to the state legislature. Andy?
And there's more agriculture news. California is facing a farming disaster that goes far beyond the current economic troubles of the family farmer. As Rick Reynolds reports, the problem is not with the crops, but with an eroding valuable resource, California topsoil.
Rich, fertile farmland became dust-blown waste zones in the 1930s, an example of soil erosion at its worst. But according to soil conservationists, the worst soil erosion in the history of mankind is actually taking place in the United States today.
Over 250 million tons of soil lost every year from all of our ag cropland in the state. all of our agricultural land. And that's enough to put a 4-foot layer of mud or soil over what we call San Francisco. That's a lot of soil.
Poor irrigation systems and antiquated farm plowing techniques are causing California's soil to be blown and washed away. To slow down the rate of erosion, the U.S. Soil Conservation Service met today in Davis to gear up for an information campaign. That campaign will try to teach farmers the latest methods for saving their soil.
Conservation tillage. It's a type of tillage where we minimize operations of plowing and disking. Our technique is to use new type of drills or adapt our existing drills so that they will seed and apply fertilizer right through residues, old crop residues lying on top of the soil.
If soil conservationists lose their battle against erosion, that is, if they don't get enough farmers to change their tilling practices, California's farms will turn to dust, creating the worst disaster since the 1930s Dust Bowl. For News Plus, Rick Reynolds reporting.
The state of Ohio is in the midst of a serious banking crisis tonight. The root of the problem lies in Florida, where an investment firm collapsed. This caused serious financial problems for many Ohio lending institutions and forced that state's governor, Richard Celeste, to order 69 savings and loan associations to close their doors until Monday.
In view of the severe and spreading lack of confidence, which is reflected on the front pages not only of the Cincinnati paper this morning, but also Cleveland and other papers across the state, I have instructed the Director of Commerce and the Superintendent of Savings and Loans to impose a 3-day bank holiday for all Ohio Deposit Guarantee Fund institutions.
Still to come on this Friday night edition of News Plus, Jim Crandell will have the story of the Larry Holmes-David Bay heavyweight title fight.
But next up, a knockout blow to a member of the Reagan cabinet.
Crest Carpet Warehouse for Altron, Anso4, Antron, the Bargain Hunters Carpet Store. Crest Carpet Warehouse.
I picked up this bulletin about PMS, premenstrual syndrome, from my doctor. And I learned what I can do for real relief. I can take Primusin PMS. It has the only combination of ingredients clinically proven safe and effective for relief of premenstrual tension, cramps, and bloating, and is available without prescription. Primusin PMS, maximum strength to relieve the symptoms of premenstrual syndrome. Primusin PMS.
Here comes the Price Crusher. It's Future Ford, the Price Crusher. And now Future Ford crushes interest rates too. Thanks to special arrangements with Ford Motor Credit, you get 8.8 annual percentage rate financing on any new Ranger.
Stop everything. Listen to this. Now Future Ford announces 8.8 annual percentage rate financing on all new Tempos. 8.8 financing on any new Ranger or Tempo from Future Ford.
Future Ford, the Price Crusher on Riverside in Roseville.
It's spring cleaning time at CalX, and we're clearing out our inventory to make way for new stock.
It's a spring clearance sale now at CalX Spas, with prices starting at just $19.95 and low payments of just $49 down and $49 a month. Save $300 on this beautiful home spa. Save $500 on the Sunset Spa, or save an incredible $800 on this CalX Indoor-Outdoor Spa. CalX, located in Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Roseville, Fairfield, and Pleasanton.
Diamond Lumber brings you grand opening blockbuster specials at these 5 totally remodeled locations. 8x10 Redwood starter deck packages for as low as $59 with free design help from Diamond's experts. And a dependable Genie chain drive garage door opener. Easy to install and so convenient, now an unbeatable $119. Grand opening specials everywhere right now at North Highlands, Auburn, Grass Valley, Placerville, and Yuba City. It's the new look Diamond Lumber.
Small businesses don't always get as much attention as the big ones. The Travelers doesn't think that's fair. That's why they designed a money management plan for small operations like Bob's Orchard. And why they offer group life and health plans to companies like this trucking outfit with as few as 2 employees. And gave Margot's Little Bakery customized business insurance. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. They deserve a fair shake. At the Travelers, we believe fairness is good business.
For the first time in our nation's history, a member of a president's cabinet has been indicted, and that cabinet member resigned today. Michael Kastner has details.
White House spokesman Larry Speakes told reporters late Friday afternoon that Labor Secretary Raymond Donovan had resigned his post. Reading from a written statement, Speakes said the president accepted the resignation with deep regret and added Donovan was entitled to the benefit of a presumption of innocence. Several hours before the announcement, Reagan was asked about Donovan.
I still have faith and confidence in Ray Donovan.
That was at 2 o'clock. Donovan had met with him 1 hour earlier to submit his resignation. It came just hours after a New York judge refused to drop fraud and larceny charges against Donovan. Donovan and the firm he used to work for, the Schiavone Construction Company of Secaucus, New Jersey, are charged along with 9 others with defrauding the New York City Transit Authority of $7 million in the construction of a New York City subway. Bronx District Attorney Mario Morolla applauded the judge's decision to reject Donovan's claim that there was insufficient evidence to prosecute.
In addition to the tapes that we presented to the court, and the court took its time, heard oral arguments on it. It was very, very deliberate. There's a 27-page decision which in effect says that there was larceny here to the tune of $7.4 million, and that we have pursued this cause and somebody's going to answer for it.
Since his nomination, he was plagued with allegations of ties with organized crime. Throughout, he continued on the job. That is, until he was named in a 137-count indictment in October, becoming the first sitting cabinet member to be indicted. Since then, he has been on unpaid leave. Donovan would not talk to reporters today, but before returning from Washington to his home in New Jersey, he said in a written statement that he was innocent. He called the charges against him baseless and politically motivated. He said he quit so the president could name a labor secretary who could deal with the department's day-to-day affairs. Undersecretary Ford B. Ford has been filling in for Donovan since October, and he's expected to continue in that role until Reagan names a successor. It's not known just when he'll do that. In Washington, Michael Kastner reporting.
Another cabinet officer was at the White House today. Secretary of State George Shultz briefed the president on his meeting with Soviet President Gorbachev. Following his talk with President Reagan, Shultz met with the media, and Jan Smith has that story.
After briefing President Reagan on the Moscow trip, Secretary of State George Shultz told reporters the two superpowers should take advantage of this moment of opportunity to establish better relations. Shultz would not reveal what the new Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, said in response to the president's invitation for a summit. But he said the president's message was clear.
I think that the president would be glad to see Mr. Gorbachev here in the United States at his convenience. But where beyond that stands, I don't have anything further to add. But I think it would be a constructive thing for them to meet.
The secretary seems impressed with the new Soviet leader.
Mr. Gorbachev gives the feeling of a very capable, energetic person who is businesslike.
But Shultz says it remains to be seen whether or not the U.S. and Soviet Union can do business together. Still, he has high hopes of improved relations between the superpowers.
It is an important moment, and the president feels that it is important for us to be prepared to move forward if it turns out that that is also the Soviet Union's wish.
Other administration officials indicate that Gorbachev's response to the president's proposal was, "We're interested. We'll get back to you." Gorbachev has already accepted invitations from France and Germany and has indicated to a British official he's willing to consider anything that will take the road to a greater understanding and peace. So U.S. officials are optimistic he'll eventually say yes to the American invitation too. In Washington, Jan Smith reporting.
The newest member of the president's cabinet met with reporters today at the Justice Department. Attorney General Edwin Meese said the United States is somewhat encouraged by the efforts of Mexican authorities who are working against drug trafficking. Meese, who was officially sworn in yesterday, also outlined some future plans for the department.
Well, I think it's too early. I'm just in the process now of visiting with the various bureaus and divisions. So far, I have seen no reason whatsoever for any wholesale changes in either policies, personnel, or process. And I think that obviously there's changes caused in part by differing personalities holding this job, in part by different situations we have to confront. But I don't see any widespread or wholesale changes.
General William Westmoreland, who recently reached an out-of-court settlement after dropping a libel suit against CBS News, was again facing reporters today in Washington. But the mood was rather different. The retired general was speaking at the National Press Club, and he took the opportunity to offer a warning to the news media in general.
The media, like every other institution, is fallible. It makes mistakes, sometimes through overweening zeal, and people are injured as a result. The chilling effect of a libel suit or journalistic enterprise is a valid concern.
You've probably heard it said before, what happens if somebody threw a party and nobody came? Pretty much the same thing can be said about a news conference, and that's what our next story is about. It's called 1190 because that's the room number of the press conference room at the state capitol. You've seen it hundreds of times. It's the special room where the governor, members of the legislature, and various other individuals and groups hold their meetings with the media. For certain conferences, say for the governor, it's standing room only. But for others, it can be the loneliest room in Sacramento. Case in point, a news conference this morning held by the president of American Airlines. Now, it's not that the media wasn't interested in what this man had to say. It's just that there must have been other stories going on at the same time. In any case, we imagine that American Airlines may soon have a new person in charge of setting media appearances for company presidents.
That man certainly has a sense of duty. If I had been in his spot, I would have folded up my little manila folder and headed to a travel agent.
Well, no doubt. It's the nightmare of every public information officer.
Absolutely.
Mexican authorities have made several arrests in the kidnapping case of that American DEA agent.
But sports is next on the 10 o'clock news. Plus, Jim Crandell will have lots of tournament basketball results and the story of the Larry Holmes fight.
On sale now at Giant Worthington Chevrolet, a brand new 85 Chevy Camaro, $99.95, just $149 a month. A brand new 85 Chevy pickup, an S10 pickup, $58.95, just $89 a month. That's with 8.8% financing. Look over here, a brand new Blazer, $86.95, just $129 a month. Hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about trade allowance. Want more for your car and trade? Want low payments? Let's talk about it. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Giant Worthington Chevrolet, the only way. Open to midnight every day.
You'll save money this week at Lumberjack during Saving of the Green. Save money in water with this impulse sprinkler from Rainbird. Keep your lawn green with Scott's Turf Builder, 2,500 square feet of coverage, $5.99 after rebate. And save on the deck you've always wanted, redwood decking from 34 cents a linear foot. Talk to Lumberjack's decking experts and do it yourself. You'll save on all sorts of green this week at Lumberjack. Check this week's circular.
Don't do it yourself without us.
Lumberjack.
How could something that looks so funny?
Thomas's muffins on your plate. Make everything on top.
Butter or burgers or melted cheese. No other muffins.
Even tuna fishes taste more.
Thomas's English muffins.
Toast up the crunchy nooks and crannies of a Thomas's, and everything you put on top tastes better.
The original, one and only, funny looking, tasty cooking.
A good hairdresser has to create new and exciting styles.
That keeps him on his toes.
But Diane got this great new look with a home perm.
That drives him crazy.
She used newly designed lilt.
Because Lilt's changed with lots of new styles and a terrific new styling guide. And there's a new lineup of perms, so I can choose just the right lilt for a whole new me.
And I am jealous.
See?
New styles, new choices, the professional touch of newly designed lilt.
Pacific takes you to the heights of savings during our Sony sale. Right now, Pacific leads the way up a mountain of Sony, a $6 million inventory. Hurry into Pacific for super deals on TVs, VCRs, video cameras, and videotape from Sony. Pacific's king of the mountain for Sony portables, car stereo, audio tape. Sony receivers, disc players, cassette decks too. Why Sony sale at Pacific? Because the savings are there. Pacific, stereo, video, and more.
Robert Preston stars in an epic Western miniseries. The Chisholm starts March 20th on TV 40.
Tonight would have been an awfully nice evening to have cable TV here in Sacramento. Big fight, and almost all of us missed it.
Sooner or later, of course, HBO available on most cable systems, and if we had cable and they had HBO, we could have all watched the fight. But Larry Holmes, though, he doesn't care where the fight was because he won it anyway. Holmes still undefeated. He took out David Bay tonight in the 10th round to keep his heavyweight championship. As we mentioned, HBO carrying the fight tonight. So here in Sacramento, clubs with satellite dishes, which could receive the signal, entertained a lot of boxing fans. Good crowd here at Spanky's. Now, Holmes knocked Bay down twice in the 8th, finished him in the 10th. Refs stopped the fight with 2 seconds to go in the 10th, and the group at Spanky's seemed to approve. Holmes 47-0 now, 2 wins away from the record, and he says retiring. Today, the second day of the NCAA basketball tournament. Now, yesterday's first-round games went pretty much as everybody expected, but not today. There were a lot of upsets today. No upset here, though. North Carolina State did defeat Nevada Reno 65-56 in the West Regional. Rob Harden hit a bomb right there for Reno, but they just couldn't match up inside with NC State's size. Lorenzo Charles will finish this play with a jam. 2 years ago, North Carolina State won the NC2A title on this court in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Charles with 22 points today. Reno finishes the year 21-10. We'll give you a complete rundown now of all of the games played today. These scores are bracketed according to region. 79-75, there's upset number 1. Tulsa was rated 14th best in the country. There's North Carolina State's win over Nevada Reno. Alabama and Arizona, that's a late one out here in the West, and the only final we haven't been able to chase down. Virginia Commonwealth over Marshall without much problem. One more upset, Texas Tech, a top 20 team, beaten by Boston College. Duke over Pepperdine. UAB beat Michigan State 67-55. Memphis State struggled a bit, but did beat Penn. In the Southeast Regional, Michigan, a top 20 rated team. That should read Michigan, a top 20 rated team. That's right. 59-55 over Farley Dickinson. 51-49, Villanova beat Dayton. It was 69-68 in overtime. Maryland beating Miami of Ohio. 23 points. That's how many Navy beat LSU by this afternoon. That's the surprise of the day. LSU rated about 18th in the country. 67-59, Georgia over Wichita State. It was Illinois over Northeastern as expected. Syracuse beat DePaul by 5, and Georgia Tech held on tonight to beat Mercer. Now, the first round of the NIT is also finished. The last 4 first-round games played tonight. We'll go right back to the scoreboard. Here's what we have for you. Indiana winner with no problem. Close one, Tennessee Chattanooga over Clemson. Also by 2, Richmond over Fordham, and by 7, Lamar 78-71 over Houston. High school basketball. Rio Americano High of Sacramento will play Washington of Easton tomorrow over in Oakland for the state championship in boys basketball Division II. Now, you might expect the coach at Rio, Al Manfredi, to be up on a pedestal, but you wouldn't think his players would be breaking eggs on his head. This part of the school's pep rally this afternoon, instead of a pie in the face, coach got a cake on the head made from scratch. He said he was happy to sit through this thing because he never expected his team would be playing for the state title.
No, I think each coach always has an ultimate dream that his team can go as far as they can, and obviously the state championship is where you're shooting for. Starting out the season, we played our best basketball of the year. During the league, we played very good basketball. We had some momentary lapses, but at the end of the season, we're playing our best basketball again, so it's nice to see the team play up to where they were at the beginning of the season.
The team that Rio plays for the title tomorrow is undefeated, so the Raiders will be underdogs. Of course, they're familiar with that role. They were underdogs in the NorCal tournament, too.
We go in there, we have nothing to lose, and just like the last 2 games, we were underdogs, and we just went in there and tried to play the best game we could, and we ended up winning.
I would not bet against Rio tomorrow. They are a real confident group, even if their coach does have egg on his face. Sac State baseball team got a win today, beat San Francisco State 6-1 at Hornet Field here in Sacramento. The Hornets did everything right today, but they have had problems with pitching all year. Going into this game today, Sac State was averaging 9 runs a game, but giving up 8 a game.
This has not been doing a real fine job. I think we've got some really good arms, and I think their inexperience is hurting us right now. We are at a point where we're starting to use different guys in situations that we didn't use earlier, and I think we're starting to work some problems out, and I hope that, if we can still continue to score 9 runs, at least keep the other team under 8.
Kevin Kobza with a base hit up the middle scored Bobby Crump with Sac State's first run today, and they were on their way to the win to run their record to 15-13, and a good job today by pitcher Steve Zgraggen. Now Smith is making some moves with his pitching staff that he hopes will produce more of the outings like Zgraggen had today.
And we've taken a couple guys that have been starting for us early in the year that have been going real strong for 4 or 5 innings and then losing it. And so what we've done is we've taken those guys and put them in our late inning relief roles, you know, because if we figure if they can hold the other team down for 3 or 4 innings, which they've been doing, maybe in the 8th or 9th inning where we've been losing games, they can come in and do the job. And
Kings lost tonight on the road at Utah. Good ball game, but a loss for Kansas City. Final score 115-112. Now the Kings will get another shot at Utah right away because they will host the Jazz at Kemper Arena in Kansas City on Sunday afternoon. Here's the NBA scoreboard for you. It shows Golden State losing tonight at Portland. Kiki Vandeweghe scored 30. Purvis Short led the Warriors with 22, but they got beat big. As you can see, their record now standing the worst in the league. 18 wins, 48 losses. The other finals, 120-114, Washington over Houston tonight. Moses Malone had 31 for the Sixers in their 9-point win over New York. Larry Bird with 35 tonight, and Boston jumped all over Cleveland just when the Cavaliers thought they were turning out a pretty good product. The Celtics had to handle them easily in Cleveland. 127-108, Dallas over Denver. It was Chicago tonight beating Phoenix 103-97, and by 1, Los Angeles, the Lakers tonight, a winner over San Antonio. One baseball story for tonight, the Kansas City Royals spending all kinds of money these days to keep the players they want to keep in Kansas City. Remember, it wasn't too long ago that they signed third baseman George Brett to what they called a lifetime contract. And now, today, word out of Kansas City that they are doing the same thing with 2 more players. Willie Wilson and relief pitcher Dan Quisenberry reportedly have agreed, not yet signed, but have handshake agreements with the team owner to sign lifetime contracts. The contract supposedly will run over 40 years, and over that period, those 2 players could each make $40 million. Boy, the Royals.
My goodness.
Royals must have some bucks, huh?
I take it you interviewed the Rio coach before you ended up with
the
fried egg.
interview was done last night before practice, and then Lauren Reed, one of our photographers, went to the pep rally today. He said they had a real good time at the pep rally, all except the coach.
Yeah.
He had a smile on his face, but you got to wonder if it wasn't, yes, I really like this.
He had quite a sense of humor.
He's a good guy.
Going back to that $40 million, that is absolutely ludicrous. When they open their books up and cry poor to the whole world, how is it possible they can say something like this?
Now remember that this isn't $40 million that the Royals are writing checks for today. Right. 1 check to Wilson and 1 check to Quisenberry. A lot of this money is deferred. A lot of this money comes, you know, I'm no accountant, but it comes in other ways. It's not money that the Royals have to put out front. But let me throw this question back to you. Given the salary structure, and let's not argue the merits of whether or not things are headed in the right direction there, okay? But given the salary structure in pro sports, who would be worth more money than Dan Quisenberry? Arguably the best relief pitcher in baseball. And Willie Wilson, not only a guy who can get on base and steal a base and score a run, but who can also run down a ball for you.
Well, looking at it from that point of view, you're right. It's still ludicrous.
So we're 50-50 then?
Yeah, we're 50-50 on that. How likely is it they'd actually...
I'll be the arbitrator here, and I'll go along with you. I don't know what you said. Hey, do we have time here? Now that we're talking about all this, let me ask you an opinion on Larry Holmes. I'm not a believer in him. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think he looks awkward. But he's got a great record, a great pro record in boxing. In fact, there was maybe only one fighter that could match that. Tell me, what do you think of him? Is he as good as he looks?
He is the best there is right now, without question. And that's all a guy can be. I mean, there are no other great heavyweights. I mean, when Ali was fighting, we had all kinds of guys to compare him to. But there is nobody else now that's even in Larry Holmes' class. I mean, he's the best he can be.
Yeah.
What more can he be?
Pretty good.
In spite of heavy efforts to get relief to starving Africans, Ethiopia is still suffering. We'll have a report.
But next up, Steve Zgraggen has a look at what promises to be the perfect weekend.
Imagine just for a moment the future, a world where everything works.
Oh, please.
So perfect, even an inexpensive frozen entree could be prepared with astonishing skill.
How inexpensive?
Around $1.79. Introducing the Budget Gourmet, 12 expertly prepared new entrees. Sirloin tips with country vegetables, linguine with bay shrimp and clams marinara, and more. New Budget Gourmet.
I have tasted the future. It's around $1.79.
If all of the cars in your price range seem to be built like tiny tin cans, take heart. There's still an affordable car built like cars should be built. A solid body with doors that thunk, lids that clunk, and an interior built for full-size people. If you want a real car, not a throwaway, there's only one choice. Volvo, the smart buy.
See your yellow pages for the Volvo dealer nearest you.
Don Morsey, president of Calex Spas.
In the last 3 years, over 50 spa companies have gone out of business in our area. Why is Calex so dramatically different from all the rest?
For 34 years, Calex has made a commitment to product excellence and customer service.
With over 6,000 satisfied customers, doesn't it make good sense to see Calex first?
Calex Fun Spas, home of the Moto Massage, and a leader for 34 years, located throughout Northern California.
Waiter. Yes, sir. He got more ice cream than I did.
For over 50 years,
I did not.
We've made Dryers to be the best ice cream around.
You did too.
From our homemade fudge.
Did not.
To our real imported vanilla.
Did too. I'll get you both another scoop.
We've always figured, if we're happy with the ice cream we make,
Waiter.
our customers will be happy too.
Why do those men have 2 scoops when we only have 1?
After all, it's not just ice cream. It's Dryers.
What do you got for a big appetite?
Jim Boy's El Sombrero.
What's an El Sombrero?
It's a meal and a half, that's what. Start with a giant, crisp flour tortilla covered with creamy refried beans and Jim Boy's spicy taco meat made from 100% ground beef. Add pure cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, and Jim Boy's great guacamole, and you've got an El Sombrero, a meal so big you may want to bring a friend.
Jim Boy's, oh boy.
Jim Boy's has a treat for you.
Our man Steve Zgraggen is here filling in for Storm and Norman. Steve, you got some big billing to live up to. We just said we're up for a perfect weekend. Is that all true?
I don't know if it's going to be perfect. It's going to be fairly nice. At least tomorrow is going to be perfect. Let's say that.
Yeah, I like that.
Today was nice. You had sunny weather most of the day. Let's take a look at how the current conditions are doing right now out in Sacramento. The temperature is 50 degrees. Our humidity is at 92%. Our barometer reads 30.05, and our winds are out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. On the satellite map, we can see the major storm system right now is through the southwest. In fact, the state of Texas is totally covered by clouds. There's not a lot of rain attributed to a lot of that storm, but through the coast of Texas, they are receiving a lot of rain into Louisiana. There is more rain showers moving through central Florida. Their temperatures are staying warm, and the rain is falling there. Up in the northeast, Maine, they're getting more snow, but it's just covering some partial areas. Other than that, it looks beautiful through most of the United States. Here we can see through the Midwest, through the northern plains and the Pacific Northwest, all beautiful, clear, sunny skies. Sacramento, another spring-like day. We had a little low cloudiness and fog this morning, but it didn't last too long and it burned off. Out in the Pacific, we can still see that storm system we've been watching. It is moving our way, and that is the chance that is going to ruin our perfect weekend that Andy was talking about. It's going to be in here Sunday and with increased cloudiness and some slight chance of rain. Most of the bad weather will move to the north. In the Four Corner states, we can see an upper level low that was entrenched in Arizona. It brought snow and rain to a lot of the Four Corner states. In fact, southern Utah, New Mexico, and Arizona all received storms. In Flagstaff, Arizona, over 4 inches of new snow fell. Texas, though, is the big story. There's the rain on the eastern coast of Texas. In fact, if you remember yesterday, Texas had flash flood warnings out. They didn't get any help for that today. More thunder showers all through this area moving into Louisiana. Up in the northeast, we can see some snow showers over Maine and the New England area, but that's not the big story. The big story in the weather up there is this high-pressure system over the Ohio Valley. Combined with that high-pressure system is a low sitting over Quebec, and that's bringing heavy, gusty winds through that area to the mid-Atlantic states. In fact, they're experiencing gusts up to 30 miles per hour. There is a gale warning out for northern coast of Maine all the way down to New Hampshire. Temperatures in Florida, even though it was raining, are still fairly warm today. In fact, the high of the nation was in Fort Myers with an 86. No change for the low. West Yellowstone, Montana, with a -6 was the low. Take a look at California. Still beautiful, warm weather all through the state. Sacramento, you can't complain about our weather. We had a gorgeous 72 degrees. Our low was 46. 68 in Stockton was the high, while San Francisco had 54 and San Jose with a 60. Up in Red Bluff, there's 72. In the Sierra, real warm 60-degree high for Reno, while Tahoe had 52, a low of 11. This weather for the weekend looks nice, at least for Saturday. In the valley, expect the weekend forecast calls for low clouds or fog in the morning, making way for sunny skies Saturday afternoon. Look for increasing clouds on Sunday with a slight chance of rain. Our winds will be light out of the south, and Saturday's high temperature will be in the 70s. In the Sierra, look for fair skies tonight and mostly sunny tomorrow. Sunday gets set for increasing clouds and a chance of snow showers. The winds will be light, and tomorrow's high at Tahoe will be 52 degrees. And in the Bay Area, expect low clouds and fog tomorrow, clearing east of the coastal mountains by afternoon. Sunday will be cloudy with a chance of rain. The winds will be light and temperatures mild. Tomorrow's high will be close to 60 degrees.
Well, we can't ask for much more on this Ides of March, can we?
That's true. It's going to be nice tomorrow. And so at least enjoy Saturday.
We will, I know. Still to come on the TV 40 10 o'clock news, a look at the suspects Mexican authorities say kidnapped and killed that American DEA agent.
But first, time has run out in California's tax amnesty program.
Here's what you should be doing instead of suffering from cramps. And you could, with the help of Maximum Cramp Relief Formula Pamprin. Each capsule has as much aspirin-free pain reliever as extra-strength Tylenol, plus a special cramp reliever Tylenol doesn't have. The result, maximum relief from cramps. So get Maximum Cramp Relief Formula Pamprin and get out there.
There's something new under the sun at Shakey's. Something new with garden fresh toppings sliced to order. Something new with 2 layers of 100% natural mozzarella cheese. Something new with a light, flaky crust made from scratch every day. Announcing Shakey's new home-style pan pizza. It tastes so good, you might say it's a natural.
Shakey's, good taste, naturally.
If you can see the difference between this and this, smile, because Gleam can make the same difference in your teeth. You see, only Gleam has calcium P. Laboratory tests prove it gets stained teeth whiter than any leading fluoride brand. Whiter than any gel, whiter than any polish. How much whiter? 30% whiter. And you still get Gleam's proven fluoride protection. So if your teeth aren't as white as they can be, start brushing with Gleam. You'll be smiling. Pretty.
Let Burgett Pianos help brighten springtime during their spring piano sale. One of the world's largest manufacturers of fine quality pianos is Yongchang, and this ebony polished grand piano is reduced to $46.95. Here's a one-of-a-kind Yongchang walnut satin finish grand piano for $49.95, nearly half the regular price. No payments till June and financing is easy. Sacramento's piano technicians providing the finest in piano rebuilding and tuning. Burgett Pianos, corner of Fulton and Marconi. Burgett spring sale ends this Saturday.
It's Ortho's Rare Clearance Sale. All sizes now at unbelievable savings. Here's just one example, including the Ortho Pack. It's Ortho's Clearance Sale. Don't miss it.
This portion of News Plus is brought to you by California Dental Service. For dental health coverage, ask your employee representative to phone CDS.
Time is running out. If you've ever cheated on your state income taxes or just forgotten to pay them, you have less than 2 hours to seek tax amnesty. California's plan to let the tax cheat pay up without a fine ends at midnight, and as Rick Reynolds reports, state tax offices were packed as the deadline approached.
The response really has been overwhelming. We've had over 15,000 people call us, come into our district offices. Our district offices are so full, in some cases, people can't even get in the door.
Thousands of Californians spent today in a tax office, waiting in line to clear their conscience without having to pay a fine.
I have to pay eventually, sooner or later. It's just as well now as later. Besides, this way I don't have to pay any penalties.
It's a good setup they got going. It gives people a chance to get their taxes taken care of and get themselves in the clear so they don't get in any trouble.
Since California began its tax amnesty program more than 3 months ago, $75 million in back taxes have been collected. $5 million of that money was collected in the last 24 hours. Amnesty officially ends at midnight tonight, but you need not file a return or pay your back taxes to get the amnesty.
If they haven't called us They don't have an amnesty application. What they can do is take a piece of paper, put their name, address, and social security number on the paper, indicate I am applying for tax amnesty for whatever years it might be, 1979 through 82, sign it and send it to us, and we'll consider that as a timely application. It must be postmarked to midnight, so they'll have to get down to the post office and get it to us.
Officials estimate that when the last amnesty return is accounted for, the state will have netted over $100 million. And that means this program was a success. For News Plus, Rick Reynolds reporting.
With help from the governor, Sacramento County will begin going after the kingpins of the narcotic industry, the producers and sellers. The governor's office awarded the county a grant that will enable the district attorney to obtain testing equipment like this to prosecute drug producers and sellers. The money will also be used to train investigative staff in the areas of search and seizure. The executive director of the governor's office of criminal justice planning presented a check to County District Attorney John Dougherty.
This grant will enable us to put 2 attorneys into the full-time prosecution of labs and major narcotics vendors, major narcotics traffickers. This type of approach, attacking the drug trafficking problem at the highest levels, is the most effective and most efficient way to control this problem within the county.
Sacramento County's grant is one of 12 being awarded throughout California.
There was a shootout early today in the parking lot of a Carmichael saloon. 3 men were shot and wounded. One of them, who is an LA police officer, is in critical condition. The sheriff's department says that about 12:30 this morning, 2 men were seen fighting in the parking lot of the El Dorado saloon in Carmichael. Then, and it's unclear just why, the 2 men shot the off-duty police officer who returned the fire, wounding both men. The 25-year-old LA police officer was taken to the University Medical Center with a shotgun wound in the chest. The others, 26-year-old David Peterson, is in critical condition with a chest wound, and 25-year-old James Emslander is in stable condition.
When pilots go on strike, you know it. You can't find a flight out. When nurses go out, the patients move out too. But when Hollywood writers go on strike, it seems like you'd never know the difference if you didn't see reports like this.
This was the first picketing by striking members of the Writers Guild of America, and the target was CBS's Television City.
The significance is that this is a very fine place to picket. Thousands of writers can come here comfortably. We're picketing one of the great networks. It is a symbolic demonstration of our unity and strength.
About half of the Guild's 5,000 West Coast writers walked the picket lines for a couple of hours in a massive display of solidarity. Even though Guild members seem to be split into several categories, each espousing various views on different issues. It was generally thought, even by the writers, that the strike against the motion picture and television producers would have ended last Monday night. But a heated debate forced a cancellation and rescheduling of a vote on the proposed agreement. Now, no one is willing to even guess how long this strike might last.
I don't think anybody can tell until we take that vote. We were told when we went out on the 1st of March that we were facing a long strike, and a week later we were sitting down with a new offer. So too unpredictable.
We may lose income and whatever the membership has going. Management stands to lose. 17% is what they lost last time we struck with their television viewership, which they never got back.
Picket signs lying on the ground, but the strike still very much underway, and will be at least until the vote on Monday night. This is Chuck Hollis in West Hollywood.
Coming up next on this edition of News Plus, a visit to a special camp in starving Ethiopia.
A camp where the cries of children are common and death a relief.
Ed Carey spent most of his life working for a corporation whose policy was keep the customers satisfied and keep the employees smiling. Now his son Charlie owns the corner store, and he has the same policy. He makes sure his people have great medical and life insurance and dental coverage from California Dental Service. Same dental plan as his dad's. We've helped take care of 3 generations with cost-efficient dental programs. California Dental Service. We have a plan to keep you smiling.
This portion of News Plus has been brought to you by California Dental Service. For dental health coverage, ask your employee representative to phone CDS.
Frank Hurling, #1 in Chevrolet sales, is also #1 in fun. With Winnebago, your luxury motorhome away from home. Winnebago takes you to the fun anytime, any place, and your luxury accommodations go right along with you. Hurling has 50 Winnebagos in sizes and prices to fit your needs, plus 12.5% financing, generous trade-ins, complete parts, and professional service. See us soon at Frank Hurling Motorhome Center, Sacramento's exclusive Winnebago dealer, 2400 Fulton Avenue.
Introducing Plaisir, the everyday French cheese. With all natural Plaisir, you can work wonders every day. Wonderful Sunday omelets. Wonderful Monday casseroles. Wonderful Tuesday Plaisir burgers. Wonderful Wednesday salads. And you don't have to cut corners to enjoy Plaisir anytime. In 4 wonderful flavors, Plaisir, the everyday French cheese.
You're watching Channel 40, home of Barney Miller, now twice a night at 7:30 and 11.
Millions and millions of dollars in food and supplies continue to flow into Ethiopia, but with little impact. The situation in that country deteriorates daily, as we learn in this report.
Nothing can prepare the visitor for the scale of the famine, and it is getting worse. They opened this camp 2 months ago. Now it's the biggest of the 6 in Mekelle. It began with 15,000 people. Today there are more than 70,000, and the total is rising by about 2,000 a week. Most have to live in the open, huddled together for protection against the dust blown up by the wind. As the relief agencies get better equipped to cope, so the problems they face simply multiply. People die here at the rate of 20 a day. This child has just lost its father, one of 1,500 to die in this camp alone since January. About half of them are children. Some die peacefully, but not all. There's so much sickness that the suffering of many children passes quite unnoticed. The causes of death are as numerous as they ever were: malnutrition, pneumonia, chronic diarrhea, tuberculosis, and tragically, some children die as a direct result of the potions their parents have given them. But progress is being made. These vast hospital tents were put up 3 weeks ago. The patients have decent beds, and some medical supplies are getting through. But even when a child gets better, it's often only temporary. And considering their living conditions, that's hardly surprising. The fortunate few live in the tents, 15 to a tent, perhaps 3 families thrown together. But that's luxury compared with what's available over the wall. There are 40,000 people in this camp waiting for a tent. Some have been here since January. There's no shelter against the chill of the night, nor the dry, dusty heat of the day. Many are too weak to cope, yet conditions are better than those they left behind, because they all get a little food. It's about half what they need, but at least they're being fed.
In another part of the world, somewhat with more hope, Israeli troops ambushed and killed 2 Lebanese army soldiers and 3 Shiite Muslim militiamen today, just outside the Israeli occupation zone in South Lebanon. Fighting has been increasing daily since February 27th. Israel has reportedly moved 2 mechanized brigades into South Lebanon in the past 2 days. The quiet landscape of, go ahead, Regina.
The quiet landscape of Belgium. The Soviet Union had hoped that cruise missiles would never be deployed here. But a meeting between Belgian officials and Soviet representatives fell apart. And today, Prime Minister Wilfried Martens decided that Belgium would deploy NATO cruise missiles immediately. The announcement was made during a special session of that country's parliament. A parade in downtown Sacramento kicked off what should be one long green weekend.
But first, a final look at what to expect for this weekend's weather, plus the ski conditions.
An ounce of gold, an ounce of zinc. Which is more important for your good health? Zinc is more precious than gold for maintaining good health. Z-Bec is one vitamin formula that's rich in zinc, a mineral essential to bones and red blood cells. And Z-Bec has 6 B-complex vitamins and vitamin C, vitamins your body cannot store, plus vitamin E. If you're not sure you're getting enough zinc and vitamins in your diet, get Z-Bec, rich in zinc, more precious than gold for your good health.
You know what I don't like about dandruff? Dandruff shampoos. I'm afraid they won't leave my hair the way I like it. This shampoo cares for my hair. It's the only one with a self-balancing formula. Puts dandruff protection where I need it, on my scalp, not on my hair, and it conditions where I need it. Leaves my hair looking and feeling good. Yeah, my shampoo's a dandruff shampoo, but it's today's Head & Shoulders. It cares for my hair.
On sale now at Giant Worthington Chevrolet, a 1980 Chevy Monte Carlo, just $34.95, only $89 a month. A 79 Pontiac Sunbird, just $17.95, only $49 a month. A 79 Mercury Capri, the RS Capri, $34.95, just $89 a month. Howdy, I'm Cal Worthington. Let's talk about cars, let's talk about trucks. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. Call Worthington Chevrolet. Thank you. See you here.
TV40's News Plus, the independent network news. Now the two are teaming up to bring you twice as much news. Brand new to TV40 is News Plus, the midday news at 11 a.m. with Regina Campbell. Followed by INN, the midday edition with Marvin Scott and Donna Hanover at 11:30. And as always, every weeknight you'll see News Plus, the 10 o'clock news with Andy Asher. Followed by the INN nighttime edition at 10:30 with Morton Dean and Pat Harper. We're giving you twice as much news starting March 18th.
The courts and the state's legal system have been under more and more pressure to resolve the staggering number of death penalty cases in California. At least one proposal has been made which has the support of KTXL. Here's Program Operations Manager Cal Bullwinkle with an opinion.
There are now at least 158 death penalty cases pending review by the California Supreme Court. Under California law, all death penalties are automatically sent to the state Supreme Court for review. Some critics of the court claim it is using every trick in the book to keep any death penalty from being carried out. As evidence of this, they note that there is presently a 4-year backlog of cases under appeal to the Supreme Court. Countering this argument, the court supporters note that the Supreme Court must routinely handle a large volume of work, and if you add the highly complex reviews of death penalty cases, a backlog is only to be expected. If that is the situation, then we must all welcome legislation proposed by State Senator Ken Matty. He wants to create a special court of appeal solely to review death penalty cases. By law, the state Supreme Court could still review the findings of that court. If, however, their real reason for having such a large backlog in cases under appeal is the volume of work, they would seldom take those cases up for additional review. Senator Matty's proposal deserves our support.
If you have an opinion or comment, call us any weekday during business hours.
And meanwhile, Stevie, you have some good news for us about the weekend weather.
Well, at least good news for Saturday. You can expect Saturday to be nice after some low cloudiness in the morning. That low cloudiness will burn off and we'll have a nice day Saturday afternoon. Sunday looks like the problem day for the weekend, if you can call it that. We will have that storm front move through with some upper level cloudiness and a chance of rain. In the Bay Area tomorrow, there will be some cloudiness and fog, and it will burn off, though, on the eastern part of the coastal mountains. Sierra looks pretty good tomorrow. There will be some cloudiness tomorrow night and a chance of showers in Sunday. So it won't be too bad.
Great, Steve. Have a good weekend. Okay, Jim Crandell with the ski report.
All right, let's go to it. Spring skiing before spring is what we have up in the mountains. Roll the videotape, as they say. Here are the ski conditions for the Sierra. And don't forget to take your sunglasses and your suntan lotion tomorrow. Seriously, you'll need them if it's a nice, bright, sunny day up there. You can come home with a very red face if you don't have the old suntan oil. Now, most of these reporting stations didn't tell us about any new snow, with the very few exceptions that you'll see here indicating some new man-made. Most reporting packed and groomed. Red wax, they say, the ticket these days, but do remember that the hills are going to change throughout the day. The snow, the pack will be hard in the morning and then more slushy in the afternoon, so be a little flexible, ready to make a couple of changes in the way you approach the hills. If you're into cross-country skiing, the weather is perfect. This is the time of year for you. Cross-country skiing picks up this time because nice weather, I guess, bringing out more people. Ski a little, stop a little, picnic a little, ski a little bit more. Tahoe Donner, as you can see, not atypical, reporting that real deep base at 8 to 11 feet. So tomorrow should be super. As Steve indicated, maybe some weather problems as far as showers concerned on Sunday, but overall looks pretty good.
And if you wear shorts, you need knee pads. Remember that one. Well, it's been said that on March 17th, everyone is Irish, for the wearing of the green on St. Paddy's Day is a universal tradition. But who was St. Patrick? We learn in this report from where else but Dublin.
St. Patrick, Ireland's patron saint and national hero, was born more than 1,500 years ago. A missionary, he spent his life spreading the word of Christ throughout this glorious land. The Irish have been celebrating his day ever since. 100,000 people line the streets of Dublin to watch the parade, which is reviewed by the Lord Mayor and the President of Ireland. This year, 15 marching troops from the United States are participating, along with other bands and drill teams from around the world. And a truly green carpet is pushed out for those visiting. Cork, Ireland's second city, is celebrating its 800th birthday with a year-long series of events, including a St. Patrick's Day parade and music competitions. The shamrock, a tiny three-leaf clover, has long been the symbol of Ireland. It was used by St. Patrick to explain the Trinity, and is a reflection of the legendary green of the countryside, which is justly called the Emerald Isle. On St. Patrick's Day, it's traditional to wear a sprig of shamrock in his honour. If you're not in Ireland wearing the shamrock this year, you may be sure the Irish will welcome you next March 17th. So, happy St. Patrick's Day, America. This is Simon O'Hanlon reporting from Dublin, Ireland.
And now we'll end the show on the beginning of a weekend of merriment.
Dependable Genie chain drive garage door openers at an unbeatable $119. Now during the grand opening at these 5 all-new Diamond Lumber stores.
Now, home communications is made simpler because QT&T put a telephone answering machine, a hands-free speakerphone, and a solid-state push-button telephone into the QT&T answer phone. This home communications center screens your calls with a pre-recorded message, records up to 60 messages, lets you have simultaneous group conversations, gives you push-button dialing on any phone system, and features a mute button and redial button. These components sold separately could cost over $300, but QT&T suggested retail price $139.95. But wait! Save money when you buy direct from Urban General, only $79.95. And QT&T offers an optional 6-year warranty. No other phone company does that. Here's how to order.
To order the answer phone, call 1-800-742-9900 or send check or money order for $79.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Answer Phone, P.O. Box 3500, Department AA, West Caldwell, New Jersey, 07006.
She was the ultimate in safety and comfort. A grand hotel set free of the earth and sent soaring into the skies. But on May 6, 1937, the romance of the Zeppelin came to an end.
An all-star cast on board The Final Voyage of the Hindenburg, Sunday at 5. Robert Preston stars in an epic Western miniseries. The Chisholm starts March 20th on TV 40.